Welcome back to another episode of the Boro4Boro podcast. I'm Matthew Wynter, reporting live from the New York City Real Estate Expo. As you can see, this is a very special episode. We're not in our usual studio at our office. However, I'm joined today by what you probably weren't going to guess, but a physicist. And you're probably wondering at home, what's the correlation between physics and real estate and New York City real estate at that? But if you stay tuned, we're gonna have an exciting conversation with Matt Emmi, the CEO of OneButton, who's doing some really cool things that are really gonna light up the future of New York City real estate. So Matt, great to meet you.
Hey, good to meet you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great conversation. But as I mentioned, you're a physicist, and that's the last thing that I would expect for anyone involved in New York City real estate to be. Yeah. But talk to us a little bit about not only your background, but the exciting things that your company is doing that is actually transforming real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background's in physics, but really my interest has always been in technology. Mm-hmm. And we are a technology and lighting design firm.
Yep.
So you can think of us for all things surrounding lighting, movies, and music. That includes window treatments, light switches and controls, back-end infrastructure, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff. So basically anything and everything that you would put in your home that's going to enhance that experience. Mm-hmm. So my background in physics has really kind of informed how we approach technology and how we choose the best technology for the homes that we're building or deploying our systems in. And we've seen, evolution in how we get music through all the rooms in our home. It used to be through like a single source, and now it's all streaming over the internet, and you can play whatever you want to all the different rooms in your home. And right now we're seeing the most interesting transition or transformation in the lighting space, where we've gone from Edison light bulbs to compact fluorescence, but we're trying to forget that because that's just a really bad nightmare of lighting, into early phase LEDs.
Yeah.
And now LEDs are evolving, and we're able to do really incredible things with LEDs. And the back-end infrastructure that supports the dimming and the controls of those LEDs are catching up to basically unlock them and make them like superpower. Mm-hmm. So now LEDs, instead of being just energy efficient and just a kind of more practical source of light, can match the quality of light from the sun or from an incandescent bulb or from almost any type of light source. And we're now able to design spaces with that functionality in mind.
So not only is the world around us getting smarter, but our light bulbs are getting smarter too. And I'm young enough and maybe old enough to remember when LED bulbs, it was the hottest thing. Everyone wanted to do that big shift, and having LED bulbs in your home was seen as this really cool and forward-thinking thing, where now the innovation, if I'm not mistaken, as you said, it's affected by the actual light outside, by the position of the sun, and all those things, whether we know it or not, I'm assuming affect how we feel, because now we're in a big era, 2025, of wellness.
Yeah.
And so you mean to tell me that the light bulb in our home also plays a way into our wellness as well?
Absolutely. It's a fundamental, critical part of our experience. And it's kind of baked into our DNA. We can't escape it, but light has been signaling our behavior for millions of years. And, even though we may not be as connected to the experiences of our ancestors, their experiences are in our DNA. Mm-hmm. So when light is bright and a cooler color temperature and coming from overhead like it is from the sun, it signals us to be alert and awake. It's like having a big cup of coffee in the morning.
Right.
When the light is dim and warm and soft, it reminds us of fire, and incandescent bulbs are effectively burning ember.
Right.
So it signals to our brain, hey, it's time, it's a space where we're safe, maybe there's food, and we can, get down for rest.
Right.
So those color temperatures of lights are constantly signaling to us. Now, for the past 100 years, we've kind of been ignoring that. We've had just a single type of color temperature in our homes, and that's really been stunting our relationship to our natural body's kind of circadian rhythm.
Right.
And so early LEDs had a lot of benefits. They were energy efficient. They lasted a really long time.
Right.
But the spectrum of light wasn't great, and they were that single fixed color temperature.
Right.
So when you dim them down, they stayed at the same color temperature.
Right.
Where an Edison bulb, when you dim it down, it would get really warm and cozy. Mm-hmm. And now we're able to build that technology back into the LEDs. So you're getting the benefit of an incandescent bulb, getting the benefit of like outdoor like sunlight, and it's automatically changing throughout the day. So we're now kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Right.
Incandescent light quality, sunlight light quality, energy efficiency, longevity, and it's all here today.
Yeah. And is this something that has kind of been in the works for you and your team over the years? Because obviously, you started in physics and you saw that there's an intersection with lighting, but also now here we are at a big real estate conference. I'm sure that wasn't what you saw the future being. So was there a turning point where you saw that this was a gap that needed to be filled, and there was a role that lighting naturally plays in where we live, but also in terms of how developers, how real estate is sold? Did you see that correlation early, or is that something that was a little bit more recent?
Absolutely. And, any technology has an adoption curve. And this technology has been around for about a dozen years in its current form. Like the exact same type of technology. It didn't come in as many flavors and variations.
So it wasn't called circadian lighting at the time?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It's all kind of been developing. We're still at the early edge of the developmental cycle.
Right.
But I would say about this time last year, some new products came out at a price point that kind of tipped the scales.
Got it.
That kind of goes, okay, now this is something that really should be explored by everyone. We kind of saw a similar tipping point with, like, say, electric vehicles a couple of years ago, where 10 years ago they were $100,000, and now they're a third of that price.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, this is very interesting. So we're at that precipice, like right now, right at this moment in time, where we can deploy a circadian or an adaptive lighting solution for not much or any price premium.
Wow.
And there's a lot of benefits you get in doing so. In that we're eliminating a lot of the back-end infrastructure. We do a lot less wiring. So we're spending more money on a fixture, but less money on the infrastructure to get you the fixture, so your end realized performance is much, much greater. So that's where it becomes really attractive to anybody building a home. We can also do this into retrofit homes. If your light bulbs are coming up on 10 years old, like, we should probably talk.
Now's the perfect time.
And then also, developers. We're seeing an opportunity to go into buildings, and it's becoming a very attractive solution for developers to put in, because right now it can be a good perk, added benefit. My personal belief, in 4 or 5 years, if you don't have some of these technologies and like consolidated keypads, people are probably going to overlook your listing and favor one that has a little bit more technology built in, so they don't have to take on the burden themselves.
Right.
Because people are just going to want it. It's like, power windows in cars. That used to be a feature.
Yep.
And then there was some point where people were like, I ain't going to buy a car if it doesn't have power windows.
Yeah. And there's no going back. It's only going forward.
And now every car has power windows.
Right.
We're in the middle of that transition where people, once they get exposed to this kind of stuff, you can't go back.
So is this something that someone can, speaking of demand, is this something that someone can expect to see in their Home Depot? Or is this something that, as these projects that developers are building slowly start to adapt them, it'll just become something that is just already there, that they can eventually be at a point where it's much more efficient to buy at a Home Depot, but it's not there yet?
Yeah, it's a great question. Both curves are kind of unfolding at their own rate, because it's kind of a different set and selection of products.
Right.
The systems we're utilizing are circadian, adaptive tunable systems. Lutron is a great example. Savant and USAI have a neat kind of technology partnership that allows this. So we can build systems from these, around these partners and platforms for anybody building a new home. If you're going into, Home Depot, you can buy this technology. Philips Hue has circadian tunable lighting, so that's a great retrofit solution. Very similar to what we do, but it's a much more limited in its quality of light and the quantity and variety of fixtures.
Right.
But you're getting the same type of thing where it's an adaptive light that can adjust throughout the day. So a little sister technology to adaptive lighting is warm dim.
Okay.
Where it just makes the LED light bulb behave like a Edison bulb or an incandescent bulb, where that as you dim it, it's going to warm the color temperature as it dims, which I would say at a minimum, if you're going to get a new light bulb or upgrade your lighting, like, start off with warm dim at the very least, because that really aligns with our expectations, what we kind of know intrinsically and inherently from an incandescent bulb. And then if you want to step up into a fully tunable solution, That'll let you kind of go anywhere on that XY axis plot of intensity versus color temperature.
Right.
And they'll also do it automatically. They'll automatically be adjusting their color temperature to match that of the outside sun.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think, oh, it's 6 o'clock, the lights outside have gotten dim, I need to dim my lights. They're going to do it for you automatically. And that's really important because that's what's going to really help you get into the appropriate cycle. It's going to start benefiting your sleep. It's going to start benefiting your waking process.
Yeah.
And, sleep is really at the core of wellness.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that figured out and you don't have an environment that's helping benefit and bolster your sleep, you're impacting your wellness.
And we're at a point in time where the consumers are becoming more and more knowledgeable about these things. I mean, even our iPhones and our smartphones, they have features now that you can not only dim the lighting, where you can adjust it for sleep. So there's clearly this natural adoption that's taking place. And people are becoming more aware. And it's great to hear that there's technology out there that is going to be doing this adaptively. So it's one less decision that needs to be made. But we're in New York City, and people tend to be a little bit more tech savvy. At the end of the day, things are already very expensive. So what I would love to do when we come back from break is talk about how folks in New York City can really actually start to make these decisions, these small decisions that can not only affect how they enjoy the places that they live, but in terms of decisions that they're making in terms of where they live, whether it's in Manhattan where we are now or in any of the outer boroughs, making a decision that could literally affect their wellness, not just affect their pockets. So
Excellent.
Can't wait to chat about it. We're going to take a quick break, and right after this, we're going to jump right back into it. Don't you move.
From residential and commercial closings to litigation, Boro4Boro is your full-service real estate law firm. We blend big firm knowledge with boutique-level attention, delivering outcomes that exceed every expectation. Contact us at boro4boro.com.
I'm Brian Scott Cohen, one of the top loan originators in the country, and the #1 mortgage originator at Guaranteed Rate Infinity. Guaranteed Rate Infinity arguably has the most advanced tech in the industry. Our completely digital loan process makes it easy and efficient for homeowners, from a 15-minute pre-approval to the digital application and through closing. My team and I would love to help you get into the home of your dreams.
And we are back. So right before the break, we went really into circadian lighting. I feel a little bit more knowledgeable on it, and it's definitely something that is exciting, but we're all New Yorkers, right? And we want to be able to figure out, what does this mean in terms of not only the bottom line, in terms of my day-to-day costs? It's not cheap to live in this city, but also for those who are looking at new places, thinking about purchasing a home, or even just want to make smarter decisions in their regular everyday life. What are some of those small decisions, such as circadian lighting, that you think they should be making today and be on the lookout for in terms of the decisions that they're making about where they move in the future?
Yeah. So, the first and best thing you can do is call us at OneButton, and we can take care of all the lighting for you.
Yep.
But short of that, there's actually a lot of stuff you can do. And we were look at 4 principles of lighting and how it shifts throughout the day. We really create a different light scape for the day and for the evening because your body responds to those cues so differently.
Right.
So it's not just intensity and color temperature. So think about lights are bright and cooler during the day. They get dim and warm.
Right.
But as the sun shifts throughout the sky, it's lowering its incident angle. And lights coming from above us tell us to be alert, awake, active, getting things done. When the light shifts below our eye line, that's giving us feelings of comfort because we associate that with fire and safety, sleep, all those things.
Right.
So we also want to drop the incident angle of lighting. So think we go from overhead to lamps to sconces or kind of candelabras along the floor.
Yeah. Have a whole mood.
But we're also reducing the size of the illuminaire.
Okay.
So maybe we have a linear light. It's kind of a large, broad light source, and we're going down to a single light bulb.
So you
Again,
don't need
more
as
like
many
fire.
lights. You just need smarter, fewer lights.
So one way, if you have like a light bulb that can do all those things and can adapt and change, that's great, but it can be a little expensive.
Yeah.
So another solution would be to have, a linear or a down light that's a cooler color temperature.
Okay.
You have that on during the day, and then in the evening you turn that off, and then you turn a lamp on with a really warm color temperature bulb.
Okay.
And so you're getting kind of a circadian-like system at home. You're just doing it manually.
Okay.
But you're still eliminating and reducing that blue light in the evening, which is very important. You need 4 hours of no blue light for for your body to produce the most amount of melatonin to give you the most restful night's sleep. So you want a lot of blue light exposure during the day, you want to take it away and you get rid of that at night. And so, just by being mindful of the lights in your own home and maybe choosing a couple of different color temperature bulbs and then selectively turning one on during the day and another off in the evening.
Is this something that someone can see reflected in their energy costs? Because I would imagine we talked about efficiency. Not only is it, correct me if I'm wrong, more efficient to set this up, but I would imagine in terms of actually running all of these technologies, there's some efficiencies potentially in terms of what they're actually going to see in their electric bills as well.
Yeah, lighting used to be the number one consumer of energy in a home, and now it's almost at the bottom of the list.
Wow.
So you think of a light bulb used to consume 100 to 60 watts of power.
Yeah.
Now LEDs are consuming 7.5 to 15.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that big of a difference.
Exactly.
Wow.
So almost 5 to 10 fold energy decrease. And then if we're dimming it, we're saving even more energy. So only producing as much light when and where we need it.
Got it.
So control systems help in addition to just the efficiency of the bulb. So, the interesting transition that we're seeing is dimmers used to be built to dim 100 watts worth of power, and now they only need to dim 15.
Wow.
So we're able to rebuild the dimmer and co-locate the dimmer with the bulb itself. And so we're seeing this complete transformation of how the architecture of how light fixtures are deployed.
Yep.
And that gets at that cost. So if we're building a new home or working with developers, we can deploy these lighting solutions at a fraction of the cost of what it used to take. So we're putting more money into the fixtures, less money into the infrastructure. The overall cost ends up to be about the same, but the performance is much, much greater.
Got it.
And that's where it's starting to become, I think, interesting in, single family residence, MDUs, and then full large scale developments.
Oh, that's awesome. And I feel like for someone, the everyday New Yorker who they don't want to have to choose between making an investment in their lighting that they believe is going to have an effect, but it's also going to increase their costs. What you're saying is that making this upfront investment, not only is it going to benefit you in terms of your actual well-being and your wellness, but in the long run, you are actually going to end up saving money, which we all want to do.
Yeah.
So I would imagine every developer out there is knocking on your door. They want to get this in their buildings because, if we're being frank, it's going to help them sell more apartments. But how has the real estate community kind of adapted to this? Is it something that you felt that you had to do more explaining on, or is it something that you feel like once one person gets it, everyone's kind of slowly starting to adopt it?
Yeah, so I think in a lot of ways, this technology is kind of the world's best kept secret. Developers are notoriously kind of behind the curve in terms of technology.
Right.
Most developers, they aren't even putting dimmers in.
Yeah.
Lutron invented the rotary dimmer in the 50s, 60s.
Wow.
So a lot of them are still back in the 50s, 60s. Okay, we're 75 years later.
Wow.
And, we're talking about technology that's just a couple of years old.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of decades to bring everybody up through too.
Right.
So nobody's knocking on my doors yet because, we're doing the outreach. We're talking to people about this. Now, once they hear about it, they're like, how can we do this tomorrow?
Right. Let's do it yesterday.
So people get it. But the communication, there's kind of a communication gap out there. I'm doing my best to speak about it because I'm excited about it. And where we've deployed it, we've realized all these savings. We've realized all these benefits in terms of the aesthetics, in terms of the performance of the light in the space, in terms of the wellness, and in terms of the cost savings.
Right.
But it's just a matter of really getting that word out, which we're doing right now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're not gatekeeping it. And if nothing else, for those who hear it first, you can't put it back in the box. Now everyone's going to be looking up circadic lighting and really going to be being more intentional. I know I will, not only about the blue light and all of that stuff, because that is super important, but now thinking about it in terms of the mood and how do I feel with my lighting.
Yeah.
So now in terms of like the future, obviously New York is always at the cutting edge of technology, of real estate. This is something that we're at a very interesting point in New York real estate. What's on the forefront for OneButton, and are there any exciting things in terms of what you're seeing, or maybe even anything that you think folks could be on the lookout for?
Yeah, well, what's exciting to us is that we've been deploying this technology in single-family residences, high-end homes, but for us to be able to kind of democratize it, to bring it to, a 1 or a 2 bedroom home in a cost-effective manner. There's some new retrofit solutions that allow us to install this type of lighting in your home that's coming out later this year.
Okay.
Won't require a lot of electrical work or much, if any, input from an electrician, which is really exciting.
Wow.
And then, we do have a very large-scale development underway where all 38 residences in the building are going to come pre-installed with a circadian lighting system, keypads to control them.
First of its kind?
First of its kind.
Wow. That's exciting.
So really exciting. Look for some news coming out about this very soon. I'll just say it's a historic landmark building. It's kind of in the Flatiron District.
An historic building in the Flatiron District. Okay, I have some ideas.
Yeah.
Wow, that is super exciting. Now, last question for you. You're a New Yorker now. You've been here, about 15 years, you said?
15 years.
So, safe to say you got your New York card, and you live in Brooklyn. The company's based in Brooklyn.
With 2 kids.
With 2 kids. All right, so your kids definitely are on the forefront of this technology, I'm sure.
They know how to use everything.
Living it every day.
Anytime my clients are like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, look, my 4-year-old uses this day in and day out. If she can do it, I'm pretty sure
they don't know a world where this doesn't exist, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. But in terms of like the actual day-to-day of it, so obviously if you're a 4-year-old, this is one of those things where it's like so easy a 4-year-old could do it. Is this something where, now we're in the app world, is this something that's installed like centrally? Is this something that we're just going to start seeing, you're on the way home and you can set it? Like, what does it look like in terms of the day-to-day and how people can expect to use this?
Yeah, so for us, like the best type of technology is something that gives you a benefit that doesn't require a lot of effort on your part.
Right.
And this hits both those, it's the axis of both those things.
Right.
So when you do a circadian lighting system, it has a progression called natural show. It's automatically changing its color, temperature, and intensity throughout the day.
Right.
So if you come over, you sit in our living room, sun's out, the light in the home is bright and cool and airy. It feels like there's just a lot of sunlight flooding into the space. And as the sun sets, which you can see from our Williamsburg waterfront space over the city, the lights in the home match and they drop their intensity and the color temperature to kind of match that of fire candlelight. It just happens automatically. It happens seamlessly. When you're in a restaurant and the lights get dim all of a sudden, it's jarring and you're like, whoa, prices just went up.
Right.
And this is not like that.
Yeah.
You won't even notice it. It's just comfortably matching the outside lighting technology, the outside lighting environment.
Right.
So, historically, we would give you a keypad on your wall. One would be like day and another button would be like night. And now it's just like on. You don't have to walk into your house and be like, oh, it's night. Let me press the night button.
Right.
You just turn your lights on and they're going to go to the right level.
Right.
And then once they're at that level, they're going to get to the level you want them to be when you go there. And for me, thinking about how to get my kids to bed, my lights are working with me, automatically encouraging all of us to go to sleep on time.
Right. The lights are setting the literal mood. It's like clearly bedtime.
Yeah.
I love it. Matt, thank you so much for this time. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure our viewers at home learned a lot. For those who want to keep up with OneButton, the exciting news taking place potentially in the Flatiron District, where can folks follow you?
Great place on Instagram. We're just at OneButton __. OneButtonLife.com is our website. Follow along. We have exciting announcements for events that we like to do. We do Cinema Sundays at our offices. So feel free to reach out. We're always happy to talk shop and have people over to our show space in Greenpoint where you can see invisible speakers, circadian lighting, spatial audio, Mel Jack switches, all the fun stuff is on display in our Greenpoint office.
That's exciting. As somebody who lives close by, I will absolutely see you again. I'll be there like the big kid that's playing with all the toys. So I'm excited for that. But this has been another episode of the Boro4Boro podcast, reporting from the New York Real Estate Expo. And can't wait to have you come back for another episode. And hopefully we'll have some circadian lighting in our studio by the time you check it out. Thank you.